Otome used to be a little bit niche, but with some recent Western localizations, it seems the genre is finally getting some momentum over here. We hope there are many more to come, but here's a list of our top 10 English Otome games.
For this list, we're only going for ones available on console or PC, and only going for ones with official English translations. Otherwise, we'd be here for about a billion years with a much bigger list. Created by the talented indie group Sake Visual, Re-Alistair++ was first released in 2010 for the PC, and is completely free. You play a 16-year-old girl called Meru Lucas, who loves video games, especially an MMORPG called Rivenwell Online. One day, a player with the username Alistair swoops in and steals your rare boss loot. Determined to exact revenge on him, you begin the daunting task of finding out who Alistair really is, narrowing it down to 3 suspects who attend your school: Travis, Shiro, and Derek. The art is done to a very professional standard, with attractive character portraits and adorable chibis providing various styles and expressions. The game plays as a visual novel with a stat raising mechanic. You've got to raise your intelligence, social reputation, and network reputation in accordance to your love interest preferences. You can also earn money and buy the bachelors gifts to raise their affection with you and progress the story. You can't win the game by just spamming one stat, and you definitely can't complete the game without paying attention to each bachelor's unique quirks and interests. It might be a bit challenging, but it's certainly rewarding. You only have a certain amount of time to figure out who Alistair is, and when you do figure out his identity, will you choose revenge over love?
Haka Loki first hit the EU under the name Haka Loki Demon of the Fleeting Blossom in 2012 for PSP, before getting other titles on the 3DS and PS3. The game is set during the final years of Japan's Edo period, and features a young heroine named Chizuru Yukimura, who travels to Kyoto in search of her father, Kodo. Once there, she's attacked by strange bloodthirsty beings with white hair and red eyes, and is saved by some chaps with the Shinsengumi, a real group from history depicted as the last to uphold an honor-bound samurai culture. The Shinsengumi are also looking for Kodo due to his expert medical knowledge, so Chizuru is quickly put under their protection while they search for him. With a mystery surrounding Chizuru's family and a dark secret being kept by the Shinsengumi, Haka Loki keeps players on their toes as they immerse themselves in story rich with history and romance. Haka Loki might not be 100% accurate in its retelling of the Edo period, but it does make a genuine attempt at educating its audience about Japanese history by referring to specific dates and historical events. This historical romance plays as a visual novel, and features some beautiful CGs and character art. The romance element was lacking slightly, but overall we found Haka Loki to be an enjoyable Otome game. Oz Mafia is, as the title suggests, set in a world of fairy tale mafia gangs. The protagonist, Fuka, has no memories and is taken in by the Oz family. There are 3 love interests in the Oz family alone, and a lot of other outside routes to choose from, including the grand finale once you've finished all the other routes. With multiple endings for each route, there's a lot of choice to make Oz Mafia interesting and fun to play multiple times over. The art for Oz Mafia is gorgeous. It's from the same artist as Diabolic Lovers, only the fairy tale based characters look more unique and even smile. Unlike a lot of Otome games, Oz Mafia is in third person, which means it's sometimes hard to understand what Fuka is thinking or feeling, and some of her choices come off as a bit weird. Still, Oz Mafia's interesting story and beautiful visuals earn it a place in our top 10.
Dandelion Wishes brought to you centers around a college student named Heejun Kim. She wakes up one day to find 3 rabbits and 2 cats randomly inside her flat. Pretty standard. Of course, she decides to keep them. Things get a little bit weird though, as after some time the animals suddenly turn into humans. Handsome human boys. Who are they? Why are they here? And why are they just so darn adorable? You can interact with characters by touching, talking, and giving them presents, all of which can increase your affection with them. Affection can also be raised by going on dates during the weekends. The more affection, the better the chance of getting a good ending with your chosen bachelor. Stat raising can be a little bit repetitive, as it often is, but thankfully it makes up for it with interesting characters, an exciting plot, and beautifully detailed illustrations. And just when you think you have a handle on it, Dandelion just gets more complicated. A strange and confusing game in all the right ways.
Amnesia Memories was a pretty landmark game for PC and Vita in terms of Idea Factory's Western Otome release schedule. You play as a first-year psychology student who wakes up with no memory of who she is. A spirit named Orion explains to the player that he's accidentally merged with your consciousness, effectively pushing out all of your memories. You must cunningly figure out who you are and what you do in the world, all the while making sure no one figures out your secret. Getting locked up inside a hospital will do little in getting those memories back after all. If you fail, Orion's presence will unwillingly encroach upon your mind, meaning your memories will be lost to you forever. To make things even more complicated, a strange guy appears claiming to be your boyfriend. Can you trust him? If so, will you be able to fall in love with him all over again? There are 5 bachelors to romance in Amnesia Memories: Shin, Toma, Iki, Kent, and Ukyo. Each bachelor has a very unique personality with an equally unique story to tell. A player's progression with them is based on the levels of 3 stats: affection, trust, and suspicion, adding an enjoyable amount of challenge. Keeping the suspicion bar empty and the trust bar full is not enough, and may even go against your favour. There are also a lot of fun extras, including side stories and minigames.
Noir IX is a fairly unique Otome game with 3 heroines and a subtle sci-fi setting. Noir IX definitely packs in the content, with 9 different routes, each with numerous endings, short stories, bonus CGs, character interviews, an 8-bit minigame, and more. You're unlikely to get bored with this particular Otome. The downside of having so much content seems to be a lack of continuity in terms of story quality. Some routes are given much more attention than others, with the same plot developments being repeated across multiple character stories. A bit more could have been done with the 3 heroines. If you're going to have 3 main characters, you might as well have them there for a reason. But the setting and story are genuinely interesting, and it's great to try and figure out what's going on in this world with the 3 main characters, playing their routes, finding out their secrets, falling in love, and solving the mystery behind this bizarre yet familiar world. Despite some inconsistencies, Noir IX is a truly fun game, with lots of interesting characters and gorgeous art to admire.
In Yojimbo, you play as an ordinary high school student named Sayori. One day she finds a shiny trinket buried in mud. She picks it up, and that night she has the strangest dream she has ever had. A princess of the ancient Mochizuki clan begs her for help in preventing her assassination. The next morning, Sayori wakes up in Hatsuhime Castle. In order to save the princess, Sayori must befriend several rough-around-the-edges Ronin types and ask for their help. Will these bodyguards be able to do the job? Will Sayori be able to change history? There are 5 bachelors for Sayori to fall in love with, all with colourful personalities and interesting character designs. You'll find yourself blushing over the Buddhist priest Monmon's actions and melting over the assassin Tatsunami's surprisingly tender side. Humour also plays a large part in the game, and you're sure to find yourself laughing over the characters' antics. Yojimbo has a surprisingly adult tone attached to it, which is something of a rarity in Otome games. It might be slightly dated in design, and the plot is far from unique nowadays, but Yojimbo is a pleasing classic that we cannot help but recommend.
In Sweet Fuse At Your Side, you play as the intuitive heroine Saki Inafune, who gets invited to a video game-themed park designed by her uncle. A mysterious figure in a black pig suit appears during the park's grand opening and proposes an ultimatum: participate in a 7-day game, or watch the theme park blow up. Saki volunteers to take part to save her uncle and, along with 6 attractive men, must face puzzles, riddles, zombies, songs, and combat before time runs out and the bombs littering the park go off. In terms of gameplay mechanics, Sweet Fuse At Your Side showcases some pretty unique features. When faced with a dilemma, Sakai's explosive insight trait may take effect. Faced with a number of highlighted keywords and phrases, the player must pick the correct 3, which will trigger Saki's epiphany to solve the problem. The mechanic tests the player's intuition and detective skills whilst also providing some very fun gameplay. Another amusing mechanic is Saki's "What's Wrong With You" option. She's a bit of a bomb herself when it comes to anger. The screen shakes and you begin to see red as you decide whether or not Saki should lose her cool. If she does go mad, then the phrase "What's Wrong With You" will appear across the screen, prompting some hilarious reactions from the stunned bachelors. With one of the more intriguing stories out there and some pretty entertaining characters, Sweet Fuse At Your Side is not an Otome game that you'll want to miss.
Lonely Cardia lives inside a dilapidated mansion, completely isolated from the world. Afflicted with a condition that makes her skin poisonous to the touch, she is dubbed a monster and feared by the locals. One day the royal guards ambush poor Cardia in the night. She's saved by the gentlemanly thief Arsène Lupin, who with the help of his engineer friend Impy Barbican whisks her off to a steampunk version of Victorian London. There she meets 3 more infamous men: Abraham Van Helsing, Victor Frankenstein, and Count Saint-Germain. Together they attempt to cure Cardia of her condition, find her missing father, and solve a number of mysteries that plague London. Love may well be on the table, but so is the threat of war, murder, genocide, and conspiracy. Will Cardia be able to help these young men with their own afflictions? There's some excellent writing in this game, and the variety present in character routes is truly impressive. The sweet, soft-spoken Victor Frankenstein will take you down a road you never expected. Likewise, the mysterious Count Saint-Germain will shock you in ways you never thought possible. Cardia herself is a heroine players will be proud to play as. She is brave, intelligent, kind, and has a mind of her own. Her lonely upbringing means she is somewhat naive about the world, but she is far from being a helpless maiden. This young lady can hold her own, and indeed will sometimes play the hero who rescues her love interest. Cardia is not a bland, empty shell which a player must project themselves onto, a trait which many Otome games fail to appreciate. There is a reason why 5 remarkable men fall in love with Cardia, and you are sure to fall for her charms too. With an intricate plot, serious themes, and stunning steampunk visuals, you are sure to enjoy Code Realized Guardian of Rebirth.
Nameless, the one thing you must recall, is our Otome duel. You play as high school student Eri, though the name is changeable. Eri was a pretty lonely young girl living by herself. She finds solace in collecting ball-jointed dolls and forms a strong bond with them. In fact, this bond is so strong that, through some magical craftsmanship and a bit of strong wishing, Eri's 5 dolls turn human. Handsomely human. But if she doesn't remember everything soon, the memories that she cherished will be lost forever. Nameless has the sort of enchanting and intelligent plot that's few and far between when it comes to any sorts of games. Fluidity between character routes is vital to the gameplay, with the events of one storyline directly influencing the beginning of the next. Characterization has been spread pretty equally, with each bachelor receiving the same measure of content and detail. With such vastly different personalities and unusual backstories, Cherrits have managed to keep every route enjoyably special. Magic, mystery, and love await you in this merry-go-round of an Otome game. If you've not played Nameless yet, then we highly recommend that you do. If you're already an Otome fan, then we hope that you've managed to find something new in this list to check out, and if you're just thinking about getting into it, then hopefully there'll be something here that takes your fancy.